YouTube Streets, the real voices of the culture. Welcome to YouTube Streets, where real talk meets raw energy. This is a platform for truth tellers, street reporters, and cultural commentators who speak from the ground level, not the sidelines. Here, we break down what's really happening: the music, the movement, the mindset, and the message behind the headlines. No filters, no industry politics, just authentic street perspective, where voices from every block, city, and struggle come together to share what's real. Whether it's hip hop, community issues, social commentary, or the stories the mainstream won't tell, YouTube Streets keeps it 100% truth over trend. This is the pulse of the people, the rhythm of resistance, and the sound of survival. YouTube Streets, the real voices of the culture. Welcome to YouTube Streets, where real talk meets raw energy. This is a platform for truth tellers, street reporters, and cultural commentators who speak from the ground level.
Peace, everyone. How you doing? The title of today's show is Albert Johnson, Murder Doctrine, Episode 5. That's what's on the marquee. Yet, this is the title that's on the paperwork.
Murder Doctrine Episode 5, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, The Black Devils, and the Divine Nine in Hip Hop.
The Divine Nine in Hip Hop. Letting you know that we're going to go a little deep today. We're going to do a deep dive into the subject matter that we have on screen. So with that said, hopefully y'all got your drinks and water and prepared to listen to today's show.
Welcome to Episode 5 of the YouTube Streets Info Mob series titled Murder Doctrine, with the star of this episode and subtitle of Prodigy of Mobb Deep, The Black Devils, and the Divine Nine in Hip Hop.
The Divine Nine. Look them up if you need to do a little deeper research. But we will try to present everything that needs to be presented in our documentation. So we got a nice long stretch of information here. We would take our time and present it as need to be presented.
By the time you finish viewing this episode 5 of the Murder Doctrine series, you should all understand that what we have all witnessed in hip-hop culture with its recent 50th year anniversary has been nothing short of a continuation of counterintelligence operations waged
against the Israel of God, the mixed multitude, the church, which is the organization that I created to deal with this stuff.
Done the people since the days of J. Edgar Hoover and the 1960s. The counterintelligence waged in this modern warfare online and offline is being waged by major corporations, non-governmental organizations, and religious institutions against the people labeled under a modern caste system as so-called blacks, Latinos, and other minority or marginalized groups. As Prodigy once said in his now infamous songs, "Illuminati got my mind, soul, and my body. Secret societies trying to keep their eyes on me."
So, the Illuminati, after the mind, soul, and body, they got secret society members keeping an eye on me, you, and everyone else. Because we all got people that went to college and joined a sorority or the women lodge, whatever that is, a sorority or fraternity. And they done pledge allegiance to what they done pledge allegiance to, which is Greek mythology.
The eyes that Prodigy may have been referencing could have been about intelligence operations like the Five Eyes Law Enforcement Group. The Five Eyes Law Enforcement Group, for those who do not know, is a collaborative group of law enforcement agencies from the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States that work together to combat serious and organized crime. When all of us start that we live in a world of alliances, with some public alliances and some private alliances that shape and mold what we consume in the markets, then we all will see what people like Prodigy was trying to tell us in code, in the streets and in hip-hop.
In the streets and in hip-hop, which if you heard the beginning of the show, I played the audio about YouTube streets, saying that I am the creator of the terminology that's been going around for a while. I'm the creator of the hype and everything else, because when I started this, what happened to the boy movement, that was my terminology. Everything that was going on was street for me. And I was on YouTube. I wasn't in the streets. So I just took YouTube and made it street. Doing things to people on YouTube that if you did it in the streets, hey.
I will be discussing in this episode 5 the untimely death of the rapper and hip-hop recording artist known as Prodigy. Prodigy, who is one half of the hip-hop duo Mobb Deep, is what I would call a whistleblower against the evils in the culture of hip-hop. Right before his death in 2017, Prodigy would release the first of what he is said to be a 3-part album series, with the first installment titled Hegelian Dialectic, the Book of Revelation. In light of my platform being called Israel Doctrine Entertainment LLC, and with the term Israel Doctrine being the teachings of the Bible from the book of Genesis to Revelations as scribed in the King James Version, I believe that Prodigy and his life and what was going on throughout his career in hip-hop is relevant to show the viewers the 6 degrees of separation to his untimely death and the connections that his music and writings made to subjects like the Illuminati or secret societies and fraternities that control the masses through media and other suggestive creations.
So, you know, Tupac, I'm a big fan of his. He came up with a term called K Illuminati. Adding K to Illuminati because he said he was going to kill Illuminati, or the false things that they were spreading throughout the community, saying they was illuminated ones. And who brought the term Illuminati to hip hop? For Tupac to kill it. Prodigy.
As a Bible-based hip-hop company, I deal much in the topic of end-time prophecy and have coined my own phrase as an acronym that goes hip-hop, or Hear Israel People Half-Open Prophecy.
Thought it was going to be longer, but it seemed like it was on time. I like the information and how it's moving. How do you all like it? Do you like the speed of things? I would like some feedback so I know what to do for the audience. It's not about me. I'm here for you all.
Another reason that I decided to feature Prodigy in this episode of Murder Doctrine is because I believe that, much like my favorite hip-hop artist, which is the late great rapper Tupac Shakur, Prodigy was facing many of the same things that he witnessed and had to go to war with many people over in the hip-hop culture. With topics like teen pregnancy and adult sleeping with minors and all of the cultural ills, hip-hop music has always been a means to get the message out. Being that I am an info activist and YouTube content creator, I too have experienced much over the years as a public influencer online that align with what rappers like Prodigy had to face in his life and times. Many have tried to rob or steal from my platforms, which became popularized online with my use of the term YouTube streets.
With my use of YouTube streets, YouTube on me $1 million. Creators should show some support and loyalty, but you have a few of them that's trying to steal it and say, well, he did it. Yet I'm the one that's still promoting it, got a channel known as YouTube Streets and stuff. Nobody has promoted it more than me because it's mine. But we're not going to brag about it.
We all have seen the real streets have spilled online into social media after the year 2020 with the pandemic, and now we see that the snitches and whistleblowers have all assembled to get into the algorithms and get all of our attention. The thing I want you all to ask yourselves is, what is these content creators online really trying to get us to pay attention to? I want to be transparent when I say that what the series is trying to get you all to pay attention to is to the counterintelligence operations being conducted in hip-hop and on various continents across the globe. If you are new to the Murder Doctrine series on YouTube, I think it is important that I make you the viewers aware that for going on 6 full years since 2020, I have been being cyberstalked online by a nationally known federal witness who took down Miami-based religious cult leader Yahya Ben Yahya.
That's before he started stalking me. I did a stalking and profiling of the Israelite male because I am an Israelite male. He don't know that. He got on him trying to call me a Hebrew Israelite because he's ignorant, but we're not going to focus on him.
In the 1980s and who goes by the government name of Khalil Amani. The reason I believe that this nationally known federal witness has been cyber-stalking me online for so many years is for my investigative journalism into the allegations of child sex trafficking of minors made by Ronald B. Stinger Savage and Hassan Poppy Campbell in 2016 against Afrika Bambaataa as the godfather of hip-hop music and the founder of the Universal Zulu Nation. I want you all to go watch previous episodes of Murder Doctrine and our sister series, the 5K1 series, to connect some of the dots that I will be laying down here. To get some of the new viewers up to speed, you first need to know that the now deceased New York DJ K-Slay was working alongside a known federal witness in Khalil Amani, who DJ K-Slay had writing for his Straight Stumpton magazine.
Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that DJ K-Slay had a federal informant by the name of Khalil Amani? He loves showing, see, I'm in the magazine. He was doing the same thing when he was in LA with that transvestite, smacking him on the booty and everything else. He was promoting that magazine.
Amani would claim that on April 1st, 2013, DJ K-Slay would call to him in Colorado from New York to have him write and publish an article titled Afrika Bambaataa, Gay and Date Raping. The article, which was published by Khalil Amani at the behest of DJ K-Slay, was alleging that Afrika Bambaataa and his manager Ahmed Henderson was stabbed by an underage teenage boy who had been statutorily raped in an apartment in New Rochelle in New York State by Afrika Bambaataa. Khalil Amani would later go on to the Ed Opperman Report podcast and allege that DJ K-Slay was used by Universal Zulu Nation in his teenage years to lure other teens into the nation for sex trafficking to Afrika Bambaataa.
For sex trafficking, did you know that? Where else do you hear this in my YouTube streets? No one has the balls, the nerves, or the gall to report on what I'm reporting on. And they want to sit there and listen to Khalil Amani say all the things that he say.
Khalil Amani would also claim that when he first met DJ K-Slay around 2007 or 2008, that DJ K-Slay would confide in him that Afrika Bambaataa was into the fetish and sexual immorality of having sexual intercourse with underage teenage boys. It is important that you all get this backstory, as I will be discussing how Prodigy was whistleblowing throughout his career against the evils in hip-hop culture, including allegations that child sex rituals and sacrifices were really taking place in hip-hop. I would direct you all to listen to Prodigy songs where he expressed this to his listeners. Prodigy spoke of some of these things in songs he made, like Black Devils, hence the title of this episode.
Here's the title of this episode, because unlike most, I've been knowing about Black Devils for a long time. See, our people has been, is, and will be worshiping Molech. If y'all know who that guy is, then y'all know something. If you don't know, I understand. But Molech is a false deity that they sacrifice children to. In the hip-hop industry, as well as government people and other people, Epstein Island had a building created for Molech so they can sacrifice and stuff. So they wasn't just having sex with the children. They was doing as Bam had her son Camel do, taking pictures and murdering children that will whistleblow on them. Oh, we gonna rape them. We gonna do everything that we do to them, and we gonna sacrifice them and murder them so they can't tell what happened to them. That's what her son Camel said. Africa Bambaataa gave him a picture, so the boy could never tell what he done to him. But Khalil Amani, by the behest of DJ K. Slay, said Bambaataa was gay and that he date raped the boy. To the gay community or to the sodomite community, when did y'all become known as rapers of youngsters, boys or girls? Sodomites, please answer that for me.
He also made references on many occasions of his fate being that of a martyr and that he was born to die in songs like Fighting the Good Fight. Prodigy, who spent time incarcerated, would also release an autobiography of his life alleging that he was fighting with the spirits of good versus evil.
Good versus evil, people. Forgive me, I had to step away to grab some water. I'll be getting a little hoarse and stuff because I speak strongly and my voice is not that strong. But if y'all see, we got plenty of information here talking about the subject. And we might go into the Molech worship and stuff and deal with that more, Epstein Island and all of that, because it's all relevant. A lot of people have blown whistles on that. Even your president is known to be a whistleblower on that subject matter.
This episode of the Murder Doctrine series is going to get very deep as we dive into what my investigative journalism unraveled in 2017 and 2018 and how my interaction with the nationally known federal witness and informant Khalil Amani would lead me down a path of many topics to unearth what has been going on with hip-hop culture. Khalil Amani stalking me for now about 6 full years and constantly promoting how he is a member of the Greek fraternities is what led me to research some of what I will be exposing here. My research into the Masonic temples and the Greek frats and sororities and how the street gangs from coast to coast has all been working together to bring us murder, extortion, bribery, blackmail, racketeering, adult sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, and overall crimes against humanity. It is also important to speak of the fact that Hassan Poppy Campbell alleged in an interview with YouTube content creator Queen's Lip episode number 29 that he was given a photo of the underage Latino or Hispanic teenage boy by Afrika Bambaataa following the stabbing incident with an order for Hassan Campbell and other Zulu warriors security detail to kill the boy so that he could not get his story out. The Universal Zulu Nation has denied the allegations of Afrika Bambaataa and his manager Ahmet Henderson in the stabbing incident and the date raping of the teenage boy as rumors, but it was reported by Ronald B. Stinger Savage, Hassan Poppy Campbell, and Khalil Amani to be a true story in Canada-based Noisy Vice magazine article written by Canadian journalist Dave Wedge. My discovering all of these things about Afrika Bambaataa, DJ K. Slay, and Khalil Amani with him being a nationally known federal witness and career informant is what I believe to be parallel to the lives of people like Tupac Shakur and Prodigy, known as being whistleblowers who speak out against the status quo in hip-hop.
The status quo in hip-hop. Most of y'all didn't heard the story that they got together back in the early 90s and said, this is what we're going to do. They had a plan. They told all the rap artists, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make music and you're going to cause your people to kill your people and we're going to lock them up and make big money. Matter of fact, when you sell your records, go buy you some stock in our company, our prisons, and you can make some money with us. Then we can party together when we got free time. This causing hip hop house niggas. Cause see, niggas want to be in the house. They don't want to be in the field. This is why I was talking about the talented 10 and the divine 9 and all these people. They don't want to be in the field. They want to be in the house. That's why they speak with lists and all of this stuff and sound like serpents and stuff, because they let somebody go up in their butthole. They eat eggs out from another man's mouth. You swallow the egg, get your DNA all in it, then give it to me, and I'ma swallow it. And they might go through numerous of people, or they might go through 1 or 2, but it's a ritual that they do of hazing. Khalil Money was hazed into Zulu when K-Slay told him, Bambala like them boys. In 2007, 8, he kept that information. He did not blow the whistle. But he liked hip hop. He never heard blow a whistle on him. He never heard that song. But he think he a old man that knows something.
During this episode, I will be posing some key questions to the audience that I want you all to ponder as you listen to all of these topics tied to the death of Prodigy. Whereas I always want the viewers to use critical thinking skills, or if you lack in critical thinking, to be entertained enough to do further research on your own. I want you all to get the information and to make it active in our communities online and offline. I want you all to know that it is my overall opinion that foul play was involved in the untimely death of rapper Prodigy. I want to make it clear that though the death of Prodigy was ruled as accidental at the autopsy, I do believe there was a high potential for far worse to have occurred due to what Prodigy was doing or about to do to expose pedophilia and pederasty, or adults sleeping with minor boys and minor girls in hip-hop.
You hear that? He was about to expose him. If they hadn't killed him, he would have exposed him. And if you look at the timeline, when I was saying YouTube streets and doing all my investigating reporting from Khalil and all this stuff, he would have been dropping a documentary or something, and it would have set the YouTube streets on fire. Because you would have had a rapper with a name and influence speaking on the same thing I was speaking on. I thought I had that in Khalil Money, but he left and went and joined the other team, became hostile. So hostile that he been stalking me for 6, 7, 8 years, or however long it been.
I think that based on who Prodigy was performing with on the night that he became ill and before he was taken to a hospital raises questions as to the Universal Zulu Nation and its affiliate. Even if Prodigy dying how he did was all circumstantial, I believe that a spirit was around him at the time he became ill after getting off stage at the Art of Rap tour in 2017 in Las Vegas in Nevada. What Prodigy was whistleblowing against prior to his death was no coincidence to his untimely death. I believe that the autopsy report of what was Prodigy's cause of death is questionable, as it directly related to a well-known Greek fraternity initiation ritual that many have partaken in at the many historically black colleges in these United States of America.
Shall we just dare look at the video? Like I told people, I'm not afraid to see nothing. We'll just look at a little bit of it. I had put a picture of it on my wall. Well, one fraternity member ate an egg, put it in his mouth, swallowed it around his mouth, and did all that, and then spit it in another man's mouth. Then he spit it in another man's mouth. Then he spit it in another man's mouth. But we're not going to watch all of that. We're just going to see the beginning of the ritual. So you won't be totally ignorant of the ritual. in what it is we're currently speaking on. If that's all right with you all. Hopefully it is. Hopefully I don't offend. I'm not here to offend or do nothing like that to anybody. But I would like to know if y'all want to see it or not. But if you don't, too late now. So we're going to blow this thing up. Don't forget it, we'll just play it. So you can see the man is breaking the egg right there. Now, if that's not sodomy at its best, in your Greek fraternities, male Greek fraternities, I don't know what it is. If that ain't Hellenizing, I don't know what is. You tell me. And to those that do it, they know exactly what that is. Something about that egg holds a lot of DNA from the first to the second to the third, and the last guy got to swallow it all down. Good God. Right? We're going to get right back on this thing.
The questions that will be asked during this episode include, was Prodigy at war against members of the Illuminati, which includes Masonic temples and Greek fraternities and sororities in hip-hop? Was Prodigy dying by strangulation associated with a boiled egg a means to make a mockery of him by members of certain Greek fraternities and sororities in the medical field? Was the artist on stage with Prodigy prior to his death potentially involved with him being ill after leaving the stage? Was Prodigy about to expose the child sex trafficking of minors in hip-hop prior to his untimely death? Was Prodigy's death used by members of Greek fraternities as a form of threat culture to warn others not to divulge its secrets, as Prodigy often did? If you want to hear what I think was the cause of his death, you definitely want to stay tuned in, because I am going to deep dive to get to the bottom of what I believe was yet again another cover-up in hip-hop.
Another cover-up. Because they murdering niggas in hip-hop. Biggie, Tupac, Old Dirty Bastard, this, that. Some more gonna be dying, and look, baby, you and woo woo. Some more people gonna be dying because it's a killer culture. It's a killer culture. They ain't just drilling in Chicago. They drilling in a lot of places. It's a killer culture, people.
Let us get started with the star of this episode, which is the rapper Prodigy, born with the government name Albert Johnson, and who was listed as deceased at the location and date of Las Vegas, Nevada, on June 20th, 2017. The initial reports that surfaced was that the rapper Prodigy died from complications from a sickle cell anemia crisis and accidental choking on an egg while hospitalized in Las Vegas. The hip-hop artist, Prodigy, had a lifelong battle with sickle cell anemia and was hospitalized shortly before his death for a complication from the disease. Prodigy had countless experiences just like this, ever since he was diagnosed as an infant in 1975. Back then, children with sickle cell anemia weren't expected to make it to adulthood. They might not even survive their first few months. Now, after hearing that some would just brush off that Prodigy dying in the manner he did was to be expected, but I believe that the manner of his death has a lot more that should be unpacked before I just say that what was reported was an open and shut investigation.
Open and shut. Why was so open and shut? See, nobody ever investigated Big and Tupac, really. They said they did, but where's the proof? I watched a lot of the videos. I've never seen the proof. Miss Wallace didn't die. This, that, and everything else. But this is hip hop, y'all. This is y'all culture. This is what y'all like. Doctrine says it's not a culture. It was made a culture. He know when it was made a culture.
I want to speak on a little background research on Prodigy to bring some things to the viewer's attention about the rise to success of the rapper known as Prodigy from Mobb Deep in hip-hop. From 1995 to 1997, the media-fueled East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry was occurring. This started when the Dog Pound released New York, New York, to which Mobb Deep took offense, as, in addition to the lyrics, the song's music video portrayed New York buildings being stomped on by Dog Pound members. In response, Mobb Deep with Capone Noriega and Tragedy Gaddafi released L.A. L.A. Tupac dissed Mobb Deep, along with the Notorious B.I.G. in Hit 'Em Up, where, in the outro of the song, he made a remark in clear reference to Prodigy's ailment in having sickle cell anemia. Mobb Deep responded in a track called Drop a Gem on 'Em, which was released as a single 2 weeks before Tupac was murdered. Tupac also dissed Mobb Deep on the song Against All Odds, 50, and Bomb First, My Second Reply, which were released after his death. Now I bring that history up of the back and forth between Mobb Deep and Tupac because it shows that Prodigy had a certain spirit against him to war in hip-hop with some very powerful forces, and he would continue to do that all the way up until his death in 2017. In Prodigy's 2012 autobiography, My Infamous Life, he likened himself to a fallen angel, someone who knows what is good but succumbed to doing evil. He embodied this myth by tattooing a half-demon, half-angel on his back. Prodigy wrote that for nearly all his life he had been straddling the fence between good and evil. But after serving more than 3 years in prison between 2007 and 2011, he decided to fully align himself to the side of the good. Prodigy referenced Judeo-Christian image.
Judeo-Christian, similar to Israelite Christian, because you can't be a Jew or Judaite unless you're an Israelite coming out of Jacob's seed. To show, once again, when I say I'm an Israelite Christian, my nationality and my belief, no half-ass wannabe government informant can tell me SHIT.
In his artistry and took an overt interest in Black American movements influenced by Islamic traditions, but he committed to no religion.
No religion. See, people, I'm a religious fanatic. If you want to ask, if you want to know my stance on things, I believe in Israelite and Israelite only. Everybody got to be Israel. The stranger got to sojourn with Israel and do as Israel does, making up Israel. If you do what I do, we one in the same. Excuse me for hiccups.
I hope you all are starting to see why I would pick Prodigy for an episode of Murder Doctrine, as he was, in my opinion, searching for the truth about who and what God is, and even though he was not claiming any religion, he was searching to confuse certain principles that do align with Israel doctrine, or what I define as God's teachings from an Israelite, Christian or Judeo-Christian perspective. Now let's look at the Illuminati theory floated around about the death of Prodigy in certain circles online. The Illuminati theory. Some hip-hop music has been inspired by the theory that a powerful international secret society exists. Often it is referred to as the Illuminati, after the Bavarian secret society founded in 1776. Complex magazine has claimed it was Prodigy who started the interest in the theory. Prodigy had often spoken publicly against the alleged international secret society during his life. Prodigy rhymed about a secret society in his collaboration with LL Cool J in the song I Shot Ya remix from
I shot you. Well, who shot you? However you want to say it. Right? Going at Tupac. Biggie in it. LL. So-called had the woman man in the video, this, that, and the other. Yeah, a lot of funny things in hip-hop.
the 1995 album Mr. Smith. In 2008, Prodigy titled the song Illuminati from HNIC Part 2. In his final solo album released during his life, Hegelian Dialectic, The Book of Revelation, 2017, Prodigy also referred to the theory. It was reported that Prodigy was working on a musical about his Illuminati theory at the time of his death. Back in 2007, when Prodigy was in prison, he wrote a letter talking about Jay-Z and the Illuminati. I have to be clear that Prodigy would later walk back his comments on Jay-Z Illuminati theory somewhere around 2013 in an interview.
Why would he walk it back? Even Jazz Lowe said Jay-Z played with that G-A-Y stuff. I think he even walked it back. You know, because Jay married now. He got a beard. He got babies in a beard. They say the beard didn't carry them babies, though. They murdered some other girl and took her babies. All kind of stuff been spoken about these things. But let's get the letter up that Prodigy wrote. Let's get the letter up. Can we do that? Let's get that letter up. Show y'all some things. When you get to searching, like the song say, searching, I'm searching. You get to searching, you find some things, people. You find some things. So here go the letter right here. But let's look at some of the comments. Let's look at some of the comments. We're going to put it up.
Google search Dwight York, the author he's talking about. Those are heinous charges they got him on. Maybe it was a setup, but more than likely it wasn't.
So, you hear it? Maybe it was a setup. Second comment. I got that 26 in there. Second comment. Let's hear a little something of what they're talking about in there.
Afrika Bambaataa is a dog. 2. Weird coincidence. But I guess that's all an Illuminati spell. The Zulu Nation publicly apologized for Bambaata's alleged actions in 2016, saying they were sorry to the many people who have been hurt by the actions of Afrika Bambaataa and the subsequent poor response of our organization to allegations leveled against him.
Yeah. Frats in the Zulu Nation have relationships. Khalil Amani, being a frat member, have relationships with the Zulu Nation. And he had relationships with the Zulu Nation through K. Slay. Though K. Slay told him to write the article, as someone who has pledged their allegiance to their frat, he was supposed to come help Afrika Bambaataa. Do you think he heard a son, Camel said, we got to clear Bam's name? And they started clearing Bam's name? And Khalil Amani started attacking me when he had named me gatekeeper and everything else under the sun and was giving me praise as he was a bobblehead or something. Y'all know what bobblehead mean, right? So, we'll get back to the article. Get back to the article. So now that we back to the article, let's deal with this thing. It's a lot more. We deep diving now. How you, Scuba Girl? Scuba Dave is here.
I want to now switch gears to a topic that will align what I believe from my opinion happened to Prodigy on the night of his untimely death in Las Vegas. Now I want you all to remember that the death of Prodigy was ruled as accidental to him choking or suffocating while eating a boiled egg in recovery from sickle cell anemia. I want you all to know that a ritual called passing the egg exists amongst the Greek fraternities and sororities that operate in the United States. Before we get into the passing the egg ritual, I want to give a breakdown to you all of what the Dive 9 is and why I placed that term into the title of this episode.
The Divine Nine. Let's do a little scuba diving, people. Let's do a little scuba diving. Because the Divine Nine, Khalil Amani, is a part of them. So when you hear certain information, you will understand when I mean that he had loyalty to the Zulu Nation. That's why he was trying to make him gay and not have him face certain charges being a sodomite man under the European terminology of gay. Not same gender loving. Same gender loving is black people terminology. Cleo Monago terminology for it. That's why when he was talking crazy and he was debating Jeremiah Judah and Polite, I said, why don't you base it up on black studying this and that? You using that European terminology and that European phonics or whatever you want to call it to talk about it. Thought you was a black man into black studies.
The Divine Nine refers to the 9 historically black Greek letter organizations that make up the National Pan-Hellenic Council, or NPHC for short. The National Pan-Hellenic Council, NPHC, is a collaborative umbrella council composed of historically African American fraternities and sororities, commonly called the Divine Nine, and also referred to as Black Greek Letter Organizations, BGLOs. The NPHC was formed as a permanent organization on May 10, 1930, on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C., with Matthew W. Bullock as the active chairman and B. Beatrix Scott as vice chairman.
Now, y'all remember Revenge of the Nerd? You see how powerful the black organization was that they went and opened up a white organization full of nerds. Because the black organizations gain power. They super house niggas. Super house niggas. And don't think that your major black people in America is not a part of these things. When you can look online and see Farrakhan wearing a Mason thing and this and that, they all in it. They done passed the eggs and everything else too. The nuts too.
NPHC was incorporated under the laws of the state of Illinois in 1937. The council promotes interaction through forums, meetings, and other media to exchange information and engages in cooperative programming and initiatives through various activities and functions. The founding members of the NPHC were Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, and Zeta Phi Beta. The council's membership expanded as Alpha Phi Alpha, 1931, Phi Beta Sigma, 1931, Sigma Gamma Rho, 1937, and Iota Phi Theta, 1996, later joined. Now back to the passing the egg ritual that I believe was used to mock the death of rapper Prodigy for his whistleblowing against the establishment. The egg ritual in fraternities involves line brothers spitting an egg in each other's mouths. DNA is transferred through the saliva. In Hinduism, The cosmic egg, or Brahmanda, is a primordial egg from which the entire universe hatches, symbolizing the origin of existence. The cosmic egg, world egg or mundane egg is a mythological motif found in the cosmogonies of many cultures and civilizations, including in Proto-Indo-European. In ancient Egypt, the sarcophagus was referred to as an egg where the soul rejuvenates, reflecting the belief that death was a temporary state not unlike incubation. It was the voice of the ibis-headed god Thoth that hatched the cosmic egg.
I can't get a Kimite to even speak on death and resurrection. You know why? Because the Bible speaks on death and resurrection. Like I told Polite, you got a sky daddy. If you got a sky daddy, how you talking crazy to Israelites? Which you claim got a sky daddy. Sound like you very similar to him. Very similar. But you pulling wool over people's head. That's why he got that girl in Florida and did that thing to her.
Around the world, it's common to find oval burial pits, often with the deceased in a fetal position. Egg-shaped ceramic vessels and or decorated ostrich eggs were buried with the dead across ancient Mediterranean cultures. Beginning about 2,700 years ago, Egyptians began mummifying and burying nearly 3 million egg-shaped jars containing falcons and ibis in tombs up and down the Nile. The complex process gave birth to an entire industry that produced more than 1.75 million mummified falcons and ibis buried at Saqqara, just south of Cairo. Another million were entombed at Tuna el-Gebel in Middle Egypt. Real ibis eggs were scattered among the egg-shaped jars containing the bird remains. A wooden statue of an ibis almost 2 feet from beak to tail contained a hidden section at the rear where X-rays revealed an oval cavity containing the remains of a mummified ibis.
Just a little research, people. Don't say I can't research. If the computer can read it to you, I can listen to the computer read it to me and take in the information. It's not hard to do what I do. It's just you got to have a will to do what you do. You got to have research buddies and blah, blah, blah.
Now plainly we can all see that the egg claims associated with the death of Prodigy could very well be associated with an orchestrated hit on the rapper's life, and again do not take my word for it, but be aware that Prodigy's own family questioned the actual death of the rapper as not being an accident, but intentional or due to willful negligence at the time of his death. The other connection that I am making here is that Prodigy was going to further his exposes of child sex trafficking in hip-hop with a documentary that never was released after his untimely death. It is also interesting that the rapper Ice-T, who is a known member of the Universal Zulu Nation, was on tour with Prodigy the night he became suddenly ill after performing. I am not saying that Ice-T did anything to Prodigy, but the Universal Zulu Nation has been the subject of much talk of adult sex trafficking and child sex trafficking in hip-hop. Another connection that I am making with Universal Zulu Nation is that the Black Greek fraternities and sororities in the Divine Line associated all of the stepping to South Africa and the Zulu Nation.
Stepping? Whoop, 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 and pat my legs and my shoulders and my chest and all of that. Greek fraternities did it. Y'all done seen the show Stepping, where they show Coretta Scott and all them Greek people on the wall? Black Greeks? Yeah. See, black stuff connect with black stuff. Don't think black Hebrew Israelites is not a part of this stuff. Ask Khalil Money if Yahweh ben Yahweh slept with his wife and was going to sleep with his daughter and all that other stuff and was sleeping with a lot of young people in them camps and a lot of men wives in that camp, because that's what Hebrew Israelites do. They part of this black stuff just like everything else. But he'll tell you, ain't nothing wrong, you can be a Hebrew Israelite. When Hebrew Israelites did all that dirty stuff to him and his family. You better watch who you listen to. That's why the nigga could never, on any shape, form, fashion, or whatever, compete with me. He's been a foul individual a good majority of his life, starting with watching his mama do foul stuff and wanting to do foul stuff to her because he seen her doing foul stuff.
I did some research into the Greek steppers and found this online under the title, From Africa to America, The History of Stepping. The stepping we see historically black fraternities and sororities performing today can be traced back to the Zulu people in South Africa. When you compare gumboot dancing, which is a form of movement created by African miners to avoid stagnant waterborne diseases, and modern stepping, there's no question the two are linked, and Black Greek organizations continue to pay honor to their African history by stepping. I want to dive a little deeper into the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities that have captured us all in these United States of America by discussing the number 10, or the talented 10th. The talented 10th is a term that designated a leadership class of African Americans in the early 20th century. It is primarily associated with W.E.B. Du Bois, who used it as the title of an influential essay, published in 1903. It appeared in The Negro Problem, a collection of essays written by leading African Americans and assembled by Booker T. Washington. The talented 10th refers to the 1 in 10 black men that have cultivated the ability to become leaders of the black community by acquiring a college education, writing books, and becoming directly involved in social change.
Now, who write books? Who is writing the books for most of the people that's in the criminal world? A book writer. Look how many books I done wrote. Look what I did this and look what I did that. I'm part of the talented 10. I've been to school. I got an education. I speak with a lift, meaning they didn't open up my pineal gland and all this other stuff. I lead the sodomites. I'm a priest in the sodomite religion.
In The Talented 10th, Du Bois argues that these college-educated African-American men should sacrifice their personal interests and use their education to lead and better the black community. In The Talented 10th, Du Bois argues that these college-educated African-American men should sacrifice their personal interests and use their education to lead and better the black community. He strongly believed that the black community needed a classical education to reach their full potential, rather than the industrial education promoted by the Atlanta Compromise, endorsed by Booker T. Washington and some white philanthropists.
And if you know what that's all about, I didn't use it in debates and stuff against the Pan-Africanists and stuff. Because I know Booker T started before Garvey and all the rest of these folks that jumped onto it. I got a book written about by an author who put my name in the book and sent it to me. Yeah, I got books too, Khalil the Money, with my name and stuff written in it. But I ain't trying to be like you. I ain't got to be like you. I'll be like Carl Albert Davis. And I ain't never changed that name. So stop lying to people and say I didn't change my name, Negro. Ain't nothing changed about me. I was having a conversation with my brother. And I remind him that I make bad decisions. You've been telling me that since we was little. And I'm going to keep making bad decisions because they fit me. If they don't fit nobody else, you think they bad because you wouldn't make them. I'm in the field. You in the house. We two different type of niggas. We're going to make two different type of decisions.
Make no mistake that what Prodigy was up against and what rappers like Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace was facing was something far deeper than rap music itself. I believe what Prodigy was whistleblowing was like the beast of the Book of Revelation having 7 heads and 10 horns. In other words, this world ruling system controlled by remnants of the Greek and Roman Empire and the black devils amongst us are very real and causing suffering all over the globe, and a cabal or satanic cult and Prodigy was speaking against it at the time right before his death. The main part of the cult that he spoke against involved real child sacrifice. When we look at people like Khalil Imani claiming that his Greek fraternity includes former President Bill Clinton as a member, one would have to see that the allegations of child sex trafficking against him and the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein make a whole lot of sense. With the sexual immorality perpetrated by the LGBTQIA plus against minors, we see a systematic movement of Greek fraternities all aligned to normalize this ritualistic and sadistic masochistic behavior.
To Molech, the sodomite probably worship Molech. I ain't read it, I ain't found it nowhere, but they down with it. If you were willing to do some beastly things to another man or another woman, why wouldn't you be down to murder a child or murder people and do all the other stuff? You an ungodly person. That's why Khalil Imani can easily say, fuck the God of the Bible. And don't stutter when he say it. And wouldn't give a damn if you heard him say it. But he want to go against me and y'all want to follow him. Follow him. Your child will be on that altar next. His step-grandson has been on the altar and stuff. He been sucking toes and all the other stuff that comes with being under that man. But, you know, anybody ever want to hear me? You ain't never got to hear me. I don't really know that I got a child. I believe I got a child. And Lord knows if I heard anything, what I may or may not do. I don't know. I can't speak to something I don't know about.
On June 18, 2017, Prodigy was hospitalized at the Spring Valley Medical Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, due to complications related to sickle cell anemia. He had been performing with Havoc, Ghostface Killah, Onyx, KRS-One, and Ice-T on the Art of Rap tour in Las Vegas, and he had fallen ill during a meet and greet with fans due to hot weather aggravating his condition. Prodigy was found unresponsive by hospital staff 2 days later, and he was pronounced dead. The cause of death was initially thought to have been related to his sickle cell disease, but it was later confirmed as accidental choking. A lawsuit filed on behalf of Johnson's family by the Gage law firm alleged that Spring Valley Medical Center breached their duty of care for Johnson by failing to maintain a working the fourth access and failing to continuously monitor oxygen levels as ordered by physicians in the hospital, and that those failures led to Johnson's death. Was Prodigy made the victim of the very rituals who spoke out against in hip-hop? Was Prodigy participating in a public discourse about child sex rituals a reason for people in the culture to want to see him dead? I think that regardless of the views or opinions that many may form from this episode, there is a lot of questions to be had about the untimely death of Prodigy from Mobb Deep. That is why we created the Murder Doctrine series to teach our youth that a righteous kill which there is a such thing is never to be confused with an unrighteous taking of the life of any of God's creators. Was the rapper Prodigy of Mobb Deep murdered to keep the lid on the pedophilia and satanic cult child sacrifice rituals his music and literature was exposing? Was Prodigy a victim of the Divine Nine? If you want to hear more content like this, do not miss the next episode of Murder Doctrine, where we will discuss the death of Queen Pepsi of the Universal Zulu Nation World Council.
Pepsi. What do y'all know about Pepsi and the power she carried in the Zulu Nation? Got them on a lot of the continents. Got them on a lot of other continents.
Disclaimer: the Murder Doctrine series is not to glorify the murder of any of the individuals we may discuss throughout the episodes in the series. Though some of the individuals we discuss and their deaths were not all ruled as murders, many of the causes of death of the people we discuss are in the very least questionable. The Murder Doctrine series was created to show how murder, which of Israel doctrine entertainment we never confuse with what the Bible teaches us is a righteous kill, i.e., a man facing the death penalty for murder is to be acceptable in our society of rules and laws. Murder doctrine or unrighteous killing has plagued the hip-hop culture since its inception. With the hip-hop artists we come to support for their music and the street ties to gang violence that goes hand in hand with the secular cultures of the modern music industry, this is YouTube Street Knowledge.
YouTube Street Knowledge. That's what we kick. That's why people on the YouTube streets say the YouTube streets. Because we've been kicking YouTube Street Knowledge for a long time. That's why they're trying to counter our intelligence.
Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share this video with friends and family on your social media platforms, hit the notification bell to be alerted when we are dropping the next episode, become a member, leave a comment under the video, it helps the algorithms, be the first to hear the greatest perspectives from the king of these YouTube streets.
Is that why you're here?
Is that why you here? Hit that notification bell and get updated as we post things. You will get the notification.